8 simple reminders tonight could change how you wake up tomorrow. Are you ready to try? Evening is not just the end of the day. It is a sacred return to yourself after the noise and rush of life. Imagine this moment as if you are stepping back into your own home, but instead of walls and doors, it is the home of your heart. In Buddhist wisdom, reflection is more than practice. It is medicine for a restless mind, a gentle light that calms the storms we carry within. When we pause at night, we are not simply reviewing what happened. We are cleansing, forgiving, and making space for peace. That is why these 8 powerful reminders are not just words. They are keys. Each one unlocks a door to release tension, to let go of anger, to invite gratitude, to embrace impermanence, to breathe deeper into the present moment. And when you do this, sleep becomes more than rest. It becomes healing. You awaken not only refreshed, but with a heart softened, a mind clearer, and an energy ready to greet the new day. Think of it this way. We spend so much time cleaning our homes, washing our bodies, checking our phones. But how often do we wash our thoughts? Tonight, ask yourself, what do I truly want to release? What do I want to carry into tomorrow? These questions shape your inner world more powerfully than any to-do list ever could. So, as you listen, let these reminders sink into you like seeds planted in the soil of your heart. With patience, they will grow into compassion, resilience, and wisdom. This is the gift of Buddhist reflection brought into modern life. Simple, practical, and deeply transformative. We now come to the very first reminder in today's video. Close this day with completeness. Think about how often our minds refuse to let the day end. We replay conversations, we regret mistakes, we hold on to what we didn't finish. The heart clings to unfinished business as if carrying today's weight into tomorrow will somehow make it lighter. But Buddhism teaches us a deeper wisdom. Once the sun has set, the day has already fulfilled its purpose. Its lessons remain, but its time is over. Saying to yourself, today is complete, is not weakness. It's a powerful act of release. It's like closing a book after reading the last page. You don't tear out the chapters. You don't rewrite them. You simply acknowledge that the story for today has been told. This small sentence gives the mind permission to rest, reminding us that not every question needs an answer tonight. Not every problem needs to be solved before sleep. Imagine placing the entire day into a box. Every conversation, every mistake, every success, every worry. Close the lid gently, put it on a shelf in your heart, and whisper, "It is enough." Just as monks strike the gong at the end of evening meditation, marking a final note of peace, you too can mark the end of your day. The sound of that inner gong tells your spirit, no more grasping, no more replaying. The practice is complete. When you see the day this way, you also begin to understand impermanence, the heart of Buddhist wisdom. A flower blooms and then fades. A season comes and then passes. Life itself arises and dissolves in cycles. Fighting this truth creates suffering. Embracing it brings freedom. To say today is complete is to step into alignment with reality, not against it. So tonight, instead of carrying regret into your dreams, imagine bowing to the day with gratitude. Even if it was messy, even if it was imperfect, it was your teacher. It gave you lessons, it gave you practice, it gave you growth. Thank it, close it, and let it rest. And then ask yourself, what if you allowed yourself to end each day without judgment? How much lighter would your sleep be? How much freer would your heart feel? Remember, every day is not a test to pass or fail. It is simply a teacher. And when the lesson is done, you don't need to carry the classroom into the night. You simply close the door, breathe deeply, and let yourself rest in peace. Whisper gently one last time, "Today is complete." And as we gently release the day, another key to inner peace reveals itself, the power of gratitude. Embracing the gifts of today. Gratitude is more than a polite gesture. It is a profound practice that transforms the way we experience life. By recognizing the gifts that surround us each day, we cultivate a heart that rests in contentment rather than longing. Gratitude does not require grand achievements or extraordinary events. Instead, it invites us to notice the quiet blessings woven into ordinary moments. Think of the simple joys, a smile shared with a stranger, the nourishment of a meal, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or even the chance to strengthen your body and mind through daily challenges. Each of these small gifts, when acknowledged, becomes a thread that weaves deeper meaning into the fabric of our lives. Modern science has shown that gratitude is not only spiritually enriching, but also physically healing. People who regularly practice gratitude tend to sleep more soundly, experience less anxiety, and carry a greater sense of happiness throughout the day. This is because gratitude shifts our focus. Instead of dwelling on what is missing, we learn to see what is already present and abundant. Imagine ending your day with a quiet moment of thankfulness. Perhaps you recall 3 things you are grateful for before falling asleep. This simple ritual not only soothes the restless mind, but also nurtures emotional resilience. In times of hardship, gratitude becomes a gentle anchor, reminding us that even in difficulty, there is something to hold on to. A lesson, a connection, a fleeting moment of beauty. Gratitude also reshapes our relationships. When we express genuine appreciation, bonds grow stronger and trust deepens. A word of thanks can soften conflict, dissolve misunderstanding, and remind both ourselves and others that we are interconnected. In this way, gratitude is not just a personal practice, but a shared offering that spreads peace outward. For those walking the path of mindfulness, gratitude is like fertile soil where compassion and wisdom can grow. It grounds us in the present, allowing us to meet life not with resistance, but with openness. Each moment, whether joyful or painful, becomes a teacher, and gratitude is the lens that reveals its lesson. As we cultivate gratitude daily, we begin to realize that contentment does not come from acquiring more, but from appreciating what already is. The sun rises, the heart beats, the breath flows. These are miracles often overlooked. To see them clearly is to awaken to the richness of being alive. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, allow gratitude to be your final companion. Whisper softly to yourself, "I am thankful for today." Let this simple truth sink into your heart, dissolving worries and filling you with quiet joy. In this way, gratitude becomes not only a practice but also a way of living, one that leads us gently toward peace, fulfillment, and a life of wholeness. Gratitude softens the heart, and from that softness arises another gift of peace, forgiveness. And so I affirm within myself, I choose forgiveness and inner freedom. This choice is not about denying pain or excusing harmful actions. It is about freeing my heart from the heavy stones of anger and resentment, allowing me to live more fully and lightly. The weight of holding on. When we refuse to forgive, our minds become prisoners of the past. We replay painful memories again and again, as if reliving the hurt could change what has already been written. Yet holding on only deepens the wound. It is like grasping a burning coal with the intent of throwing it at another. In the end, the fire consumes us first. Unforgiveness weighs down the spirit, draining joy, clarity, and energy. To forgive is to release this burden. It does not mean that the harm was acceptable. It means that I no longer allow that harm to define my present or limit my future. Forgiveness is an act of freedom, a way of giving myself back the life that bitterness once stole. Forgiving myself. Often, the most difficult forgiveness is directed inward. Many of us judge ourselves more harshly than we would ever judge another. We replay our mistakes, carry guilt long after the lesson has been learned, and live as though we are forever on trial. But life is not a courtroom, and we are not sentenced to endless punishment. To forgive myself is to accept my humanity, flawed, imperfect, yet capable of growth. Mistakes are not final verdicts. They are stepping stones. When I look at my past with compassion instead of judgment, I see not shame, but the seeds of wisdom. Forgiving myself allows me to say, I am not defined by what I once did. I am learning, I am evolving, and I am worthy of peace. This release opens space for courage. It transforms regret into resilience and guilt into guidance. Self-forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering with clarity, then choosing to walk forward without chains. Forgiving others. To forgive others is equally profound, though often misunderstood. Forgiveness does not mean condoning harmful actions or pretending they cause no pain. It means choosing to no longer let resentment poison my spirit. By forgiving, I do not declare what happened was right. I declare that I will no longer be ruled by it. This kind of forgiveness gives me back my strength. It breaks the cycle of anger and opens the heart to compassion. Sometimes forgiveness comes slowly, in layers and steps, in moments of willingness that grow into release. That slowness is not weakness. It is the natural unfolding of healing. Even the intention to forgive plants a seed of freedom that with time will blossom. The freedom forgiveness brings those who forgive often describe a feeling of lightness, as though a heavy stone has been lifted from the chest. Breath becomes easier, thoughts clearer, and the heart more spacious. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it transforms the way we hold it. What once felt like a prison becomes a teacher. Forgiveness also reshapes relationships. By choosing understanding instead of blame, compassion instead of judgment, love instead of anger, we make space for genuine connection. Forgiveness does not guarantee reconciliation with another, but it always guarantees peace within ourselves. Choosing forgiveness. Each day, forgiveness is not a single event but a practice, a daily decision. Each day, I may need to forgive myself for impatience, others for careless words, or life itself for not meeting my expectations. In these moments, I return to my affirmation, I choose forgiveness and inner freedom. As night falls, I ask myself, whom do I need to forgive today? Sometimes the answer is clear, sometimes subtle, but always the act of asking softens the heart. And when I whisper to myself, I choose forgiveness, I choose peace, a gentle calmness settles over me. To live in forgiveness is to live unchained. It is to walk with an open heart, ready to learn from the past without being bound by it. In choosing forgiveness, I do not only release others, I release myself into the vast healing space of freedom and peace. Gratitude softens my heart, forgiveness frees my spirit, and now I affirm with sincerity, I have practiced with all my heart. Each day is not an examination where I am judged and graded, but a living journey of practice, growth, and remembrance. This affirmation allows me to look at my daily actions with compassion rather than criticism, seeing every effort, no matter how small, as a step on the path of inner cultivation. So often the mind compares and competes. It whispers, you should have done more. You should have been better. You failed again. These voices weigh heavily, as if spiritual growth were a race where one can win or lose. But practice is not a competition. It is not measured by how many hours I sat in meditation, how perfectly I kept my posture, or how flawlessly I followed the breath. Practice is measured by presence, by intention, and by sincerity. If today I smiled instead of scolded, if I paused for a breath instead of reacting in anger, if I remembered to be grateful even once, then practice has happened. To say I have practiced with all my heart is not to claim perfection. It is to acknowledge the countless small moments that add up to transformation. A seed does not grow into a tree overnight, yet each drop of water, each ray of sunlight, and each breath of wind nourishes its becoming. Likewise, each small act of patience, each gentle return to awareness, and each choice of kindness nourishes my awakening. There are days when the practice feels effortless, when calm flows naturally and presence is strong. And there are days when everything feels heavy, when the mind races, emotions surge, and discipline seems far away. On such days, it is tempting to say, I failed, I am not good enough. But here the reminder arises. The practice is not about being flawless, it is about being faithful. Even if I return to the breath only once amidst a storm of distractions, that single return is an act of great value. Even if I lose my patience but remember to apologize, that too is practice. To practice with all my heart means showing up sincerely, not perfectly. It means trusting that each step, no matter how shaky, is still progress. Just as a child learning to walk falls many times yet is never judged a failure, I too am learning to walk steadily in awareness. Each stumble is not proof of weakness, but a sign of growth. This understanding frees me from the burden of self-judgment. It helps me celebrate the journey instead of obsessing over the destination. It allows me to rest in the truth that effort itself is sacred. A single mindful breath is enough to remind me of my true nature. A single smile offered with compassion is enough to shift the energy of a moment. A single act of restraint is enough to plant a seed of peace. As I reflect at the end of the day, I can say honestly, I have practiced with all my heart. Not because everything was perfect, but because I showed up, because I tried, because I chose awareness, even if only in fleeting glimpses. And that is enough. Each day is a new chance to begin again, to water the seeds of wisdom and compassion, to walk the path with humility. The practice continues tomorrow and the day after, for as long as breath remains in this body. But tonight I can rest. I can let go of judgment and hold myself with kindness. I can trust that every small effort has meaning, that nothing is wasted, and that sincerity is the true measure of practice. From gratitude and forgiveness, I have learned to look more deeply into the nature of life. And along this journey, a truth both simple and profound reveals itself: impermanence. That is why I affirm within my heart, everything changes, and that is perfectly natural. When I resist change, I suffer. I cling to youth and despair at aging. I hold on to success and panic at the thought of failure. I grasp at relationships and fear abandonment. Yet none of these things were ever meant to remain fixed. Like flowers, they bloom in their season and wither when the season ends. To expect permanence in what is impermanent is to fight against the very rhythm of life. Acknowledging impermanence does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it allows me to cherish more deeply. When I know that a sunset lasts only a few minutes, I pay full attention to its colors. When I know a loved one will not be with me forever, I treasure every moment of presence. When I realize that my own breath is fleeting, I breathe with more awareness, grateful for each inhalation and exhalation. Impermanence is not an enemy, but a gentle teacher reminding me to live fully now. Life unfolds like the four seasons. Spring carries freshness and new beginnings. Summer brings fullness and vitality. Autumn arrives with change and release. Winter offers stillness and rest. Each season has its beauty, each plays a necessary role, and none stays forever. Just as the earth flows naturally from one season to the next, so too does my life. Youth gives way to maturity, success yields to lessons of humility, and even sorrow softens into wisdom. By accepting impermanence, I loosen the tight grip of attachment. I no longer demand that people, situations, or even myself remain the same. I give permission for change to happen without labeling it as failure. What once seemed like loss can become space for new growth. What once felt like an ending can reveal itself as transformation. Just as leaves fall to nourish the soil, endings create conditions for beginnings. Fear often arises from wanting certainty in an uncertain world. I want to know what tomorrow will bring. I want to control outcomes. I want guarantees of safety and comfort. But life offers no such contracts. What it offers instead is flow, movement, and possibility. To walk in peace is to walk with openness, to trust the river of change instead of trying to dam it. Impermanence also frees me from despair. If pain is here now, it too will pass. If grief feels overwhelming, it will soften with time. Nothing stays forever, not even suffering. This truth gives me resilience. It allows me to breathe through storms with the quiet confidence that no storm lasts endlessly. So tonight, as I reflect on the day, I affirm again, everything changes and that is perfectly natural. I release my grip on what I cannot hold. I soften into the rhythm of rise and fall, birth and death, gain and loss. And in this surrender, I find peace. Life is not a frozen sculpture, but a living dance. To flow with change is to live in harmony with reality. Tomorrow will bring new colors, new lessons, and new experiences. Whatever arises, I can meet it with openness, knowing that it too is temporary. And in that knowing, I discover a quiet freedom, the freedom of being present, grateful, and unafraid in the face of change. After walking through gratitude, forgiveness, effort, and the acceptance of change, my heart now opens into a wider embrace. And so I affirm with sincerity, may all beings be safe, peaceful, and free. This is the essence of loving kindness, or metta, a practice of compassion that begins with myself, extends to those close to me, reaches even those I find difficult, and finally radiates to the entire world. It may seem idealistic at first. How can I wish well for everyone, even those who have hurt me or caused pain? Yet this is the transformative power of loving kindness. It softens the walls I build around my heart. It allows me to see that just as I long for safety, peace, and freedom, so too does every other being, whether they are a friend, a stranger, or even someone who has wronged me. To practice metta is to recognize our shared humanity, our shared vulnerability, and our shared longing for happiness. The practice begins simply. I sit quietly, breathing gently, and direct kind wishes toward myself. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I be free. Not often this first step is the hardest because I carry judgments against myself. My mind whispers, "You don't deserve peace. You failed. You are not good enough." But metta dissolves these harsh voices by planting seeds of kindness in the soil of my own heart. Only when I can hold myself with compassion can I truly extend it outward. Next, I turn to those I love, family, friends, mentors, and silently send them the same blessing. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be free. My chest feels warmer, my breath softer, my eyes sometimes wet with gratitude. It is not about fixing their lives or controlling their destiny. It is about opening my heart to hold them in kindness, trusting that such love is never wasted. Then comes the challenge, directing metta toward those I find difficult, someone who irritates me, someone who has harmed me, or even someone whose presence triggers resentment. At first, resistance arises. Why should I wish them well? They don't deserve it. But slowly I remember. They too suffer. They too carry wounds. They too are shaped by causes and conditions I may never fully understand. Wishing them safety and peace does not excuse their actions. It liberates my own heart from hatred. Finally, the circle expands to include all beings, near and far, human and non-human, seen and unseen. I picture the earth like a blue jewel floating in space, filled with countless lives, each yearning for happiness. I whisper silently, may all beings everywhere be safe, peaceful, and free. A vast tenderness rises in me, as if my heart grows large enough to embrace the whole world. This practice does not only transform the spirit, science affirms its benefits as well. Studies show that loving kindness meditation reduces stress, lowers anxiety, and increases feelings of joy and connection. It improves sleep, softens anger, and even enhances empathy in measurable ways. The wisdom of the ancients and the discoveries of modern research meet in agreement. Compassion heals. At night, when I practice metta, I fall asleep more peacefully. Dreams are lighter, sometimes even sweet. In the morning, I wake with a heart that feels more spacious, more ready to face the challenges of the day. Loving kindness is not a vague wish, but a living practice, one that changes how I see myself, others, and the world. So tonight, as I close my eyes, I hold this affirmation again. May all beings be safe, peaceful, and free. It is both a prayer and a prayer for the well-being of all life, and a promise to cultivate the heart of compassion within myself. For in a world where everything changes, love is the one force that expands when it is shared. As I prepare to rest at the end of the day, I remind myself of a simple truth. Tonight, I let go of worrying about tomorrow. For many people, the quiet hours before sleep are filled not with peace, but with restless thoughts. The mind turns toward unfinished work, upcoming responsibilities, or vague fears about what the future may bring. But to carry tomorrow's burdens into tonight is to rob myself of the rest I most need. Letting go does not mean neglecting my duties or pretending challenges do not exist. It means recognizing that tomorrow has not yet arrived, and therefore it does not require my energy tonight. Worrying endlessly is like rehearsing a play before the stage is built. It exhausts me without creating any real solution. Instead, I give myself permission to pause, to rest, and to trust that when the morning comes, I will meet it with fresh strength and clarity. This practice of release is both gentle and profound. I notice how my mind clings to the thought, what if I forget? What if I fail? What if I am not ready? Yet I counter with compassion. It is enough to rest now. I will have the wisdom I need when the time comes. This is not laziness, it is wisdom. Just as a farmer lets the soil rest in the night so it can nourish seeds in the morning, I allow my mind to rest so it can bear fruit tomorrow. When I loosen my grip on anxiety, my body responds almost immediately. My breath slows, my shoulders soften, and my heartbeat steadies. The racing images of tomorrow fade into the background, and the present moment becomes more vivid. The softness of the pillow, the rhythm of my breathing, the quiet shelter of night. Peace is not hidden in some distant future. It is right here, available as soon as I stop clutching tomorrow's weight. Science confirms what spiritual wisdom has long taught. Releasing worry improves sleep quality, strengthens the immune system, and enhances mental focus. Studies show that people who practice letting go of intrusive thoughts before bed fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, and wake feeling more refreshed. In contrast, those who ruminate often experience insomnia, fragmented rest, and heightened stress. The mind's habits shape the body's health, and worry steals both rest and vitality. By letting go of tomorrow, I also deepen my trust in life itself. I remind myself that I have faced difficulties before and found my way through them. I remember that solutions often arise unexpectedly when I am calm, not when I am trapped in restless thinking. Trust is the bridge between today and tomorrow, and rest is the foundation on which tomorrow's effort will stand. Sometimes I visualize placing all my concerns in a box by my bedside. I tell myself, you may pick them up again in the morning, but for now they are set aside. Other times I breathe slowly and silently repeat, not now, rest now. These small rituals retrain the mind, teaching it that nighttime is for renewal, not for rehearsing fears. And so, as I surrender the endless cycle of worry, I enter sleep not with tension, but with peace. My dreams grow lighter, and my awakening in the morning feels more alive, more ready, more spacious. I discover that tomorrow always comes, and it always brings with it the strength to meet what must be met. So tonight, as I close my eyes, I affirm once again, I let go of worrying about tomorrow. In that letting go, I find freedom. In that rest, I find the strength for a new day. After learning to release tomorrow's worries, my heart feels lighter, my breath calmer. And from this quiet space, one final truth arises, like a gentle whisper. I don't need to wait for the future, nor prove anything more. Right here, right now, I am already enough. For much of our lives, we are taught to believe that happiness lies just a little further ahead, just beyond where we are now. If only we had more money, a better job, a stronger body, a quieter mind. Then we imagine we would finally be worthy of rest, of peace, of love. And so we chase endlessly, measuring ourselves against moving targets, comparing our path to others, and quietly telling ourselves, not yet, not enough. But what if this cycle of striving is not the path to peace, but the very obstacle to it? What if the truth is far simpler, more immediate, more radical? What if, in this very moment, without adding or removing anything, you are already whole? Enoughness is not something to be earned. It is something to be recognized. Look closely at this moment. Your breath is here, steady and faithful. Your heart is beating without asking for permission. Your body, though imperfect, has carried you through countless days and nights. You have endured, you have learned, you have loved, you have fallen and risen again. Every scar, every wrinkle, every memory is proof. You are already enough. This realization does not mean you will stop growing. Growth and transformation are natural, like the seasons. But the energy behind that growth changes. When you believe you are incomplete, you push yourself from fear and inadequacy, and no matter how far you go, it never feels like enough. But when you know you are whole, your growth flows from joy, curiosity, and love. You expand not to fix yourself, but to express yourself. Think of a flower. It does not bloom to prove its worth. It blooms because blooming is its nature. It does not compare itself to the tree beside it, or wish for the colors of another blossom. It simply unfolds in its own time, in its own way. You too have that same right to live, to grow, to shine, not because you are lacking, but because it is your nature to unfold. And yet the mind resists this truth. The mind clings to comparison, conditioned by years of shoulds and musts. It whispers, I'll be enough when I achieve this, when I lose that weight, when I earn that recognition. But the horizon keeps moving. The when never arrives. The only place it can ever arrive is here, in this present moment. So how do we step out of that cycle? We begin with awareness. Each time the voice of not enough appears, notice it. Do not fight it. Do not judge it. Simply recognize. This is a habit of thought, not the truth of who I am. Then gently breathe into the present and remind yourself, I am enough right now. Repeat it softly, even if the mind resists. With time, the heart begins to believe what the mind cannot grasp. Scientific studies even affirm this. Practices of self-compassion and present moment awareness reduce stress, improve resilience, and increase overall happiness. But beyond science, you can feel the difference directly. When you let go of striving, your body softens, your breath deepens, and life feels lighter. Being enough is not complacency. It does not mean giving up on your dreams. It means you no longer chase them from fear. You pursue them from love. You are no longer running away from a sense of lack. You are moving toward joyful expression of who you already are. So let this truth settle in you tonight. You do not need to earn your worth. You do not need to prove your existence. Your value is not measured by perfection, possessions, or praise. Your value is inherent, unconditional, ever present. And perhaps in the quiet of this realization, you will discover a peace deeper than anything you have been chasing. The peace of being at home in yourself, here and now. As the day gently comes to a close, these 8 evening reminders are not just words to repeat. They are living seeds planted in the fertile soil of your mind and heart. Gratitude softens the spirit. Forgiveness frees the soul. Sincere effort keeps you steady. Impermanence teaches you to let go. Compassion expands your heart. And releasing worry clears your path. Finally, the awareness that you are already enough in this very moment ties everything together, allowing you to rest not in striving, but in simple being. Imagine what it means to carry these truths into every night. Each repetition is like water nourishing a tree. Slowly, quietly, without force, roots grow deeper and branches reach higher. A calmer mind, a clearer vision, and a more loving presence in the world. This is not a distant dream, but a reality being shaped by your practice, breath by breath, night after night. So tonight, as you prepare to rest, ask yourself, which of these reminders touch me most deeply? Which seed do I want to nurture more fully in my life? Share that reflection in the comments below, not just as a message to others, but as a vow to yourself. Because when you speak your truth, you begin to live it. This is not the end of the journey. It is simply the closing of today's chapter. In the videos to come, we will continue walking together, exploring new ways to live with peace, clarity, and awakening. Until then, may you fall asleep with ease, rest with trust, and awaken tomorrow with the quiet joy of knowing you are whole, you are enough, and you are free.